Hi, I'm Melba Pearson, also known as the Resident Legal Diva, and it is time for another Daily Diddy, bringing you Diddy trial updates every day until we get a verdict. So just a couple quick things for clarification, because I know folks had questions. Number one, I am not in the courthouse, nor am I affiliated with the case. I have a few different folks that send me the updates, and then based on the testimony and what's been going on in the courtroom, I analyze it, spin it back for your viewing pleasure. Secondly, this is a federal trial, so there are no cameras in the courtroom. So again, we have to rely on reporters and other folks in the courtroom to kind of give us the details to be able to then report on it. All right, so today is the second full day of the trial. Yesterday, we heard from the security guard at the Intercontinental that witnessed Cassie being beaten by Diddy. And today, we also heard from Daniel Phillip, who was a stripper that was paid thousands of dollars to participate in freak-offs. Basically, he was paid to have sex with Cassie. Now, Cassie was not necessarily a willing participant in this, and Diddy would sit in the corner and basically watch and masturbate. So again, trigger warning, a lot of the information I'm going to be talking about today is going to be kind of disturbing. I'm going to leave out the most graphic and gross details, but I want to make sure everybody has a firm idea of what's been going on. So this stripper, Daniel Phillips, was hired to have sex with Cassie, with Diddy watching. He was always into the baby oil thing, so they both had to be covered with baby oil all the time. And he was very specific about what he wanted them to do. So he was there choreographing, where he should be, where she should be, and the kind of acts they engage in. What was also important about Daniel Phillips's testimony is that he can talk about one of the instances where Diddy beat Cassie. He saw her basically get grabbed, brutalized, and everything by Diddy. And at one point, she actually was able to get away from him and basically jumped into Daniel Phillips's lap. And he was kind of holding her and being like, this is not okay. Like, you really should leave. And she was like, no, I'll be fine. It's okay. I'll be fine. Again, very consistent with domestic violence and domestic violence relationships where the victim believes that they can somehow, get through this situation. And if they could just not make the abuser angry, they'd be okay. He was also talking about how Diddy had directed him to urinate on Cassie, very like R. Kelly-ish in that whole thing. So again, not something she wanted, totally gross. Ugh. Lastly, Daniel Phillips did pretty well on cross-examination. He pretty much took the air out of the defense theory that somehow he and Cassie had a consensual relationship. He made it very clear that he didn't see her, really interact with her outside of the freak-offs, and again, very much a limited kind of interaction, always directed by Diddy. So that definitely took the wind out of the defense's sails. Now, for the main event, Cassie Ventura. So she testified today, and boy, did she have a lot of very disturbing things to say. First off, she came in, took her oath and everything else. She's visibly pregnant, so she's 8 months pregnant. Her partner, Alex Fine, was allowed to be in the courtroom, but only as long as she's not testifying about a 2018 incident where Diddy raped her. Once that starts, he has to leave. Cassie talked about how their relationship started, how she was 19 years old, had signed a 10-album contract with Bad Boy Records, and she was super excited for her career to take off. Well, Diddy had other plans, and they ended up beginning a relationship. She was 21 years old when he first kissed her and then started to introduce her into oral sex and different types of sex acts. It's kind of clear from her testimony that she was pretty naive and like innocent when she got into the relationship with him, because the way she's talking about the sexual activity and all of that, it was clear she did not have a very broad base of knowledge at the time that she first got with Diddy. Her first freak off was at the age of 22. And again, she thought she was just kind of fulfilling a fantasy of his, didn't really understand all the implications, but went along with it because she loved him and wanted to make him happy. But after a while, she didn't have the option to say no. Cassie talked a lot about the physical violence she suffered while she was with Diddy, that he literally would punch her, kick her. She'd have bruises and knots all over her body, that he was very violent for just no reason at all. So if she made the wrong face, if she said no to him, if she talked back, he would beat her. And so it was, again, very clear that she was in this awful domestic violence relationship. Also, when the whole freak off thing started, he used to be the one to hire the escorts. Then he made it Cassie's job to always hire the escorts for his freak offs. The freak off, she said, would last for 36, 48, 72 hours, with the longest one being 4 days. He was obsessed with baby oil and needed everybody to be glistening. So every 5 seconds, everybody had to keep reapplying. And they also he was also being very controlling towards her. She talked about the fact that he forced her to engage in freak-offs when she was on her period, that she generally, in terms of all of this, felt disgusting and humiliated. He would sometimes pee on her as well. So it was definitely a horrible, horrible situation for her. Also, these freak-offs happened all around the country, Southern California, New York, Miami, wherever he had homes, which is really important for the prosecution's case because, again, he's being charged with 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution, as well as, charges relating to basically sex trafficking. And so her testimony is critical to show that they were crossing state lines and that she was being forced to do all of these things in the different destinations, which, number one, the crossing of state lines makes it a federal crime. And number two, the fact that she was in fear and that she was coerced speaks directly to the charges that the prosecution has brought. So lastly, a couple interesting things to note. First off, she talked about being forced to carry a gun in a club. Sounds very much like what happened to Jennifer Lopez back in the day. Remember when she got snatched up after there was a shooting? Shine ended up taking the fall and having to go to prison behind that. Yeah, so there's a little common thread there. So you've got that going on. Also, she talks about her alcohol and drug use, that oftentimes she was using drugs and alcohol to numb herself and just kind of get through this because she felt humiliated, she felt disgusted. These were things that she did not want to do. And then lastly, she also talked about how controlling he was. And despite the fact that she was writing songs like crazy and was ready to record and push her career forward, he would not allow her to record and he would not allow her to release another album. So I'll be back again tomorrow with more trial updates.